middle point in July. Summer's hot out. For some people, football is probably the furthest thing from their mind, but for new Wilmington High football coach Joe Cavanaugh, I'd imagine it seems like it's always part of life for you. So, thanks for joining me today. So I know you. So for those who don't know, Joe is the new head coach at Wilmington High, but your history in the town of Wilmington and football runs pretty deep. Just tell me a little bit about you and football.
So I was born and raised here in Wilmington. Graduated of Wilmington High School, class of 2003. Following high school, I had taken a year at Merrimack, and then had an opportunity to come on and coach freshmen, starting in 2004. Coached freshmen for 3 years, and then in 2008, became the defensive coordinator at the varsity level and stayed there until 2016, and then wound up taking a job over in Billerica. So,
what's it like coming back to your high school alma mater and where you sort of started coaching? What's it like being back?
It's exciting. Who wouldn't want to, come back to their hometown and, where it all started for them. Just try to give back to the program that gave me so much.
What is it about, was football always your sport, or is it the sport that you gravitated to the most, or what is it about football that?
It wasn't my sport growing up. My sport growing up was actually baseball. But, once I hit high school and started playing football, just the whole team part of it is what kind of drew me to it. That was kind of huge for me, just being a part of the team and that whole experience. Being part of the football team and what that represented and, all that. So that's kind of what drew me to it.
So what's it been like, taking over? You have a lot of seniors, like almost 20, and that's before even every summer some kids come back, they do. So as of right now, it's almost 20. It's a big group. And it can be tough for coaches to navigate, like when they take over, if they have a lot of seniors that those guys only have 1 year under you. It can just be a tough juggling act. Like for coaches, they're planning for the long term, which doesn't include those seniors.
Yep.
The seniors, they might not always buy in when they're like, I've only got 1 year here, and then so how do you navigate that early on, building like a relationship with kids you're only going to have for 1 year and getting buy-in from them?
Well, it's funny because a lot of the seniors I actually had in Pup Warner. I coached them in Pup Warner coming through. And just being from town and, growing up here in town, like a lot of the kids, I just know them personally just from, when they were little kids coming up. So it's not like I don't know the kids. I know most of them. And then, just going from there, it's kind of, the kids that I didn't know, they've been around the weight room and putting in a lot of work. And, so we've already kind of built that relationship where, they kind of understand who I am. I kind of understand who they are. And, so it's pretty exciting. I think we're going to have a good year.
So I know that you guys haven't had like formal practices. That doesn't start till the end of the summer when, the teams get their pads and everything comes together. But you probably have some impressions just from what you've seen in the weight room. You probably went to some games, over the years here, familiar with kids, what you can see.
Yep.
What are your impressions of the team next year? Do you have any idea of what some of the strengths might be for this team?
Obviously we're going to be senior heavy. But, the work that they've put in the weight room so far this year, is, you can tell there's just a physical difference between this year and last year. Talent-wise, we have a bunch of skill guys. We got a bunch of, good kids on the offensive line. We have the potential to be pretty good, do something special.
And not to give away your trade secrets or anything, but are there any philosophies that are sort of they're always yours when it comes to your teams, no matter where you are and what the personnel are? Are there any staples to teams that you coach?
Yeah, it's not just, I wouldn't say it's mine, but, any good football team is, work hard. Effort, attitude, work hard, stay disciplined. And that's going to get you, far. And just being tough. Toughness is huge in high school football.
So the team, I think they picked captains at the end of last season, so before. Is that captainship still in place? Is it sort of you re-earn it? Like, how does it work for you in this first year where you didn't? Are the captains already set now, or is it you're refiguring that out?
Yeah, no, they're set. You know, they had voted on or picked captains. You know, before I got there, and you know, it's not really my style to come in and just tell a kid, no, you're not a captain anymore. That being said, I did explain to them that there's a certain standard that you're going to have to keep up with if you want to remain a captain, and they've done a good job kind of living up to that. So
are you you might not know, they've had some different looks over the years. They've gone single back, they've gone two back, there's been times when they've tried two tight, they went three wide for a bunch of the season. Are you still sort of figuring out, or is there some offensive schemes that you think that's sort of what you like to go with?
Yeah, so we have an offensive scheme that we're going to go to that I've run the last year when I was up at Lowell Catholic. It's a good scheme. You can use it with basically any type of personnel that you have. It can work around your different skill levels.
Yeah, that makes sense. What are your? I know, don't want to get too in depth. I know, like I said, people still need to earn stuff, but it seems kind of like, barring something totally unforeseen, you kind of know who your quarterback's going to be as far as Mark Holleran, because his freshman year he was on the varsity, he got a few reps. Last year as a sophomore he played every game other than one that he missed with injury, and the quarterback can be so critical in the relationship between the quarterback and the head coach. Like, just what are your impressions of Mark Holleran?
Yeah, Mark's a kid that I had in Pup Warner, so I've known him since he was a little kid. Tough kid, hard worker. He's a football first kid. Everything he does revolves around football. And when, some of your best players are your hardest workers, that's when good things happen.
He's one of the kids that the impression that I got is like, he loves to win, but I feel like he hates losing even more than like loves winning. Like, just hates to not compete. So
yeah, oh yeah, he's a competitor. They've done 7-on-7s, stuff like that, and he'll text me after the game. Hey, what'd you think? What do I need to work on and stuff like that. So he's very critical of himself. He's a competitor, and that's something that you need to win.
And it definitely sets the tone. Like, it's a lot harder to overcome if you're the guy who's touching the ball more than anyone else isn't a competitor, versus if the guy who's touching more than anyone is a competitor. Is it really sets the tone. One thing I'm curious about, just because we've interviewed different coaches that have had this dynamic, college level, prep school, everything. So you're going to be coaching your son, who's a senior, right? He's coming to Wilmington High. How do you navigate the father-son / coach-player dynamic? Is that difficult? Is that like?
Yeah, you gotta ask him. It's hard. It's hard because he's my son. I'm typically harder on him. But he's the kind of kid that he's a hard worker. He just puts his head down and goes about his business, and that's it.
What I guess is I'll sort of leave it with, like, when report day is. That do you know when equipment day is, first day of practice, and are there any things that the team's doing before first day of practice?
Yeah, so our first day of practice is August 15th, which is a Friday. The state mandates when we can start.
Yep.
A lot of our kids actually already have all their equipment. We did a team camp a couple weeks ago, which we had a great showing. We had like 40 kids go.
Wow.
So we'll give out equipment probably that week for the kids that didn't get it, and but we're in the weight room 3 days a week. We do a passing league on Wednesday nights, and we're excited. The kids are working hard, and I think good things are going to happen. So.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. We're hoping that you'll come back. Fairly. You'll be a recurring guest here during the course of the season.
I appreciate you having me.
No problem. Thank you so much.